You have said, Elder Clayton, that everything good that has happened to you has come as a result of making the decision to serve a mission as a young man. But the events leading up to you making that determination aren't textbook. They're not, it's not a typical story. Would you share the story with us?
I didn't grow up singing, "I Hope They Call Me on a Mission." I never heard the song. And, there hadn't been a Clayton family missionary for several generations. And when we started to become active, it just was not in my, it may have been in my DNA, but it certainly wasn't in my mental framework. I just wasn't thinking about it at all. And we started going to church, and I saw some of the young men who were a little older than I was go on missions, and some who didn't, and I just was really wrestling with it. My dad insisted that I go to the University of Utah. He said, "You can go to any college in the country that you want to, as long as it's the University of Utah." He wanted me to live in Salt Lake. He wanted me to know the people that he'd grown up with. He thought that would be wonderful for me. We'd spent so much time in California. He wanted equal time. And so I did. I went to the University of Utah and met people at the University of Utah who, for the first time, piqued within me an interest in serving a mission. I was a member of one of the fraternities at the University of Utah, and there were some wonderful people in that fraternity, and they were returned missionaries. So I started thinking. And one day I went to the YMCA to work out in the gym, and while I was there, I ran into one of the few general authorities I would have ever have known, Elder Marion D. Hanks. And he struck up a conversation with me, for which I was very grateful, because I wanted to talk to him. And once he started the conversation, then I asked him the question that was on my mind. My father was a physician. I thought I was going to be a physician. It was the time of the Vietnam War. So if you add medical school and college and internship and residency and a mission and all of these things together, I thought I wouldn't be in real life until I was an old man. So I asked him the question. I put all those facts out there, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, how old are you now?" I said, "I'm 19. He said, "How old will you be in," and I believe the answer was 15 years when I did the math. "How old will you be in 15 years if you don't do any of those things?" I said, "I'll be 34. He said, "How old are you now?" Well, we'd already established that, of course. I said, "I'm 19. How old will you be in 15 years if you do all of those things?" "I'll be 34. He said, "When you're 34, what would you rather have done? None of those things, half of those things, or all of those things?" And that answer just went through me like a lightning bolt. I knew that I'd heard real wisdom. And shortly thereafter, I was on my way. And it really was the most important decision I think I've ever made, because it took me from where I was, and where I was not headed toward a mission and not headed toward things that really mattered, and put me on the right path to a place that has brought me great happiness over time. Tremendous happiness, a wonderful marriage, a happy family, and satisfaction that I didn't dream was possible.
What surprised you about a mission?
Almost
Was it what you thought it would be?
Almost everything. I didn't know what it would be like. And I remember, it's strange you would ask that question, Sherry, because I remember asking myself one day, as I was walking down the streets of Lima, Peru one Sunday afternoon, you always wondered what a mission would be like. Well, now you know. Is this what a mission is really like? And I decided, yes, this is what it's really like. And it was very different from what I'd anticipated. It was harder by far than I thought it would have been. And yet satisfying in a way that I had never known before. It was satisfying to my soul, deep down inside me. It made me happy. And I just didn't know that that kind of feeling was possible.